almost sunny day. I'm Kasbi, and we have Shira with us, who's a graduate from AUB, and we have Professor Xavier. A little bit about Professor Xavier. He's currently in Hong Kong. He is trained at the Glasgow School of Art and the Royal College of Art in London, and he will be taking over the presentation. Any questions that you guys have, I can answer, help answer that towards the end. Please put them in the chat box, or you can put them in the Q&A box as well, and we can pick it up from there.
Hi,
Over.
everyone. Can you see my screen? Can you see the presentation? Hello?
Yes.
Can you see my presentation, Kasbi?
We can.
See the title, yeah? Designing Designers Design. Is that correct? Yeah, okay. So we've got Anna, Aishani, Esir, Hassini, and Sonia Prasad. Lovely to see you today. If you would just like to write in chat, just so I know what your interests are, like what maybe what you're studying, what you want to study, what your creative career is, that would be great. We've got quite a lot to go through today or this evening, as it is in Hong Kong, to talk about what design is. It's a massive subject, art and design. Thank you, Ishani. It's a massive, massive subject, and one of the main things that we kind of think about, I still ask myself, is what's the difference between design and fine art? It really is a big question that really determines a career, actually. I studied visual communication and illustration, but I thought still think of myself as an artist. But the big difference, I would say, between the two is design, you're thinking about the other person, you have empathy, you're thinking about what the solution to a problem is. Okay. Fine art, I'm not going to say it's selfish, but it's definitely about your own inner voice. It's your personal questioning, your philosophical, psychological, even political questioning of your place in the world. There is not really an answer with a piece of work that is fine art. It leads to ambiguity where design does have a purpose. It is about targeting your audience, targeting your customer. It's a lot more to do with finance and business than fine art as such, even though fine art is ultimately about finance and about money and about investment. But the main audience for a fine arts practitioner, almost like someone who becomes a priest or a monk or a guru, it's the audience is yourself, really. And it's about the context of where you show your work. Are you showing it within a gallery, or are you showing it on the shelves in a shopping mall? So it's these things. And just researching this lecture today, just thinking about what it is, what the value of design is, and value is a really good word. In 2017, a few years ago, at the Montreal World Design Summit, a declaration was made, a manifesto of what design is, what the value of design is. And it is about creating objects, things, pieces of work, using advances in technology and materials, and also really to help the world, helping the world and the effects of unleashed global development. I think it's the application of intent. I think that's a really good definition, the application of a tent. If you do have any questions, okay, what is visual communication? Thank you, Ashani. Well, it depends on where you study, okay, Ashani. It depends where you study and how it's defined. I would say it's word and image, okay? And graphic design may be more text-based. It might cross over into UX, user experience. We can talk about this a little bit more. But within visual communication, I specialized in illustration. I specialized in illustration, and actually specialized really specifically at the Royal College in natural history and ecological studies illustration. But let's get back to design and the history of design. So it's a new word. It's a new idea, design, actually. It's a very new idea, and the word has come out of the Industrial Revolution, and revolution is the word actually for all of design and the movements of design. The Industrial Revolution changed the human race relatively recently, only 200 years ago, completely transformed us as a species. It's accelerating in terms of change. From being an agricultural society to industry driven fundamentally by money. But there's some great people within this period of time that harped back to things like craft. And craft is a great word. And I believe very strongly that craft is gaining more importance in this day and age. William Morris, textile designer, printmaker, book publisher, illustrator, his factory, following the principles of industrialization, has become a product that's still used in this day and age. Beautiful designs, aesthetically stunning. And these other breakthroughs as well. Design has followed these other revolutions. Electricity had a huge influence on design, on mass production, and great countries famous for their engineering, such as Germany, and the brilliant architect and industrial designer Peter Behrens capitalized on the production of objects in relation to that. But design fundamentally, it is about the consumer. It is about the product, a Coca-Cola bottle, just a simple design of a bottle, not even the taste actually. The taste has changed and is changing to this day, but it is a design. It's a product. It's nothing to do with what's inside, but it is the packaging, the bottle. But revolution, it's a great word. We're living through phenomenal revolution at the moment, which we'll come to at the end of this presentation. But revolutions have shaped design, the innovation, the new way of seeing and thinking. It's all about design, responding to these great revolutions that the human race has witnessed. And there's been these epochs that have, similar to art movements, they've kind of, they're similar in a way. The Art Deco movement, very much to do with production. It's edging towards modernism and minimalism. Very ambitious at the time. It now looks dated. It now looks from another time. But at the time, this was space age. Lots of clean lines, dramatic shapes and forms, contrasting with the far more elegant, the far more theatrical and intricate design of Art Nouveau, which has resurgences even into this day and age. Even in illustration, we see recently a lot more curvilinear forms and sweeping lines and decoration, ornate decoration. This is the opposite of minimalism, but it is functional as well. It's beautiful. It's aesthetic. And going back to Germany again, the minimalist movement, the Bauhaus movement, the celebration of simple shapes, simple forms, cleanliness, stark spaces where the design is dramatic in its simplicity, huge influence. Some other things going back to the Montreal Declaration of what design is, but design introduces intelligence to cities, and the Bauhaus has very much to do with that, to do with better communications, improved environments, enhanced quality of life, ambitious ideas of how we live, how the human race lives. And we're seeing more and more of that situation now. The world is facing huge challenges environmentally, and cities are getting redesigned. They're getting relocated even because of rising sea levels, of flooding, as sadly we're witnessing all over the world recently, and many other factors as well. But design is in response to that, and is also in celebration and and also support of the natural world. And so it should be, the values should be based about supporting our planet. Sustainability is a word that's used and bandied around so many courses in higher education, especially in the UK. It's fundamental to the practice. In fact, many educators make the choice not to be working so much in industry, but to be educating young people about the practice of respect, adoration of the natural world. Um, and I'm one of those, definitely. And all my educators were similar in thinking. Design is a driver for innovation. Innovation is a buzzword. We at AUB we celebrate that word particularly. Yeah. It helps with competition, growth, development, efficiency, and prosperity. It is about money, but also um, healthy competition. The 60s were a great era of optimism after the Second World War, and the design that came out of there was fun. It was pop. We all know about the pop art movement, but pop music and pop culture and the movies and everything the 60s represented at the time has continued to this day. We wouldn't have Taylor Swift if it wasn't for the 60s. She has come out of that, and even K-pop as well is very much to do with that youthful idea. The teenager didn't exist before the 1960s. Other great designers, Dieter Rams. I just found these brilliant rules of good design. There is bad design, and I just want to ask the audience um, whether what bad design could be. Can I just ask you just a little bit of engagement? Thank you very much, Anna, Hassini, and Ashani. Yeah, thank you very much. What's bad design? Be great to what is bad design? Useless. Okay. That's great. Thank you very much. You're fantastic. What is bad design? Good design. Honest. Long lasting. It's good design is as little design as possible. It's aesthetic. It is innovative. Okay. It's thorough down to the last detail. Not pleasing to the eye. Yeah. Thank you, Casfi. Yeah, it could be. It could be. It could be just purely evil. It could be just design and all the rules of design in terms of convincing an audience. Um, getting somebody to create enemies even. The swastika was appropriated um, from a Sanskrit religious, spiritual symbol and appropriated by the Nazis as a symbol of a terrible ideology that was racist at its core. Some flags are like that. But yeah, good design is incredibly important. And designers are gurus. I really believe that. They are Steve Jobs was very influenced by yogic meditation, transcendental meditation, Buddhist and Hindu philosophy, and that was the core of his design philosophy. It was to make the world a better place. Yeah, it's transforming technology. Okay, and it's about the human perspective. Okay. Design bridges technology with human needs. Some old examples of design, but incredibly important at the time. Okay. And, you know, the Apple computer from being something from the Dark Ages has been transformed through design, particularly through one man, Johnny Ive. It's actually, I think he's the Chancellor of the Royal College of Art now, actually. And he's responsible for all of those incredible innovations of Apple as a brand, one of the most powerful companies in the world, but elegant, precise, functional, all of these things. Form following function. Thank you, Anna. Something that doesn't do its purpose, doesn't have good quality and bad structure. Yes, function is incredibly important. Does the form follow what the function does? And the opposite of that might be true too, as well. It might be style over content, where the aesthetics are more important than whether it works or not. You can see that a lot in graphic design, where you can't quite read it correctly, or even a lemon juicer, the Philip Stark lemon juicer for Alessi. It's a design classic, space age, but it doesn't actually work very well. This function isn't so good, but it looks beautiful and people covet it. It is style over content. There are better lemon juicers than this one, but the compromise, it looks amazing. It looks like it should do what it does, but it doesn't do it as good as this photograph. So design careers. I'm going to just I'm going to stop sharing now. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to ask uh, my colleague here today and Shira, are you there?
Yes, Xavier, I'm here.
Hey,
Hello.
I think it's a good time just to talk about. I'll go into sort of more detail, but you're from Bangalore.
Yeah.
You're an Arts University Bournemouth graduate
Yes. Yes.
from a couple of years ago,
Yes.
and you've had an incredible experience and travel to follow
Yes.
your dream to study abroad, to study in the UK at Arts University Bournemouth. Could you just give a brief synopsis of your experience at AUB?
Definitely.
I'll be really,
Definitely.
I'm excited to learn what it was like for you.
I'm happy to. This is a great opportunity for me, firstly, like
Good.
representing myself to the audience about Art University Bournemouth, where I learned a lot there. So can I share my screen?
You should be able to.
Yes, I am able to. Yes.
Yay.
So, hi everyone. This is Kshira Hegde. I live in Bangalore. I've done my bachelor's in visual arts, which is from Karnataka Chitrakala Parishad. So once from there, I just came along from to pursue my master's in graphic design because I did my bachelor's in visual communication as well. So once I did that, I was very much interested to learn more about graphic design and how advertising works, how forces and a lot of things which in depth I wanted to know about. And when I chose this, I wanted to do my master's abroad. To be honest, it was a bold step for me because it was very new. It was very challenging for me to accept that I was flying abroad for my master's, and doing things by myself was a task. So I was skeptical initially, but I did take a bold step. I was like, okay, let me just try and get into this. And then AUB was great in accepting the whole newcomers and how to actually, I felt home, to be honest. Like once I moved to Bournemouth, I really felt home. And I recently was talking about this to my colleagues when I've come back to Bangalore. I was telling them how much I learned about graphic design and the field of advertising in my university. And the tutors were so great to make us understand what we actually need to know about the field, you know? So it was beyond the classroom. It was more like I was learning in the field itself, so that we were interacting very much, too many ideas, how to solve problems, how to communicate, how to represent our works, and how to actually understand what graphic design and design actually helps us in the journey of our career as well. So when I came into the whole aspect of graphic design, it was very new for me. I was yet to understand how things were working, how the career field actually works. So once I got in there, Mr. Phil was he was really helpful. He helped us how to understand the problem that we need to solve, and the whole process of our master's degree was so convenient for us to do. Is the way we used to understand the program, the way we used to understand what to do and what not to do, and how to go about the whole problem solving scale, and how to globally understand what it works like. And then later there were few drawbacks too, where I used to feel homesick. I used to be like, okay, what am I doing? Should I just take a break, go back, or come back? But I would say the whole process of me in AUB was so helpful. There were times that I used to go to Mr. Phil and be like, you know what, I'm stuck here. I need some help. Yeah, like just give me some guidance for me to understand what this is. Like review my portfolio and give me a career prep, or help me get a job, and things like that. So later, I can say I was confident. I was really happy where I was. This was my final project. This was something that I did for my final project, and we were really happy how it came out. And I could say I was so enthusiastic to do the whole project of mine. I had to showcase. I had to talk to people. I blend works. We just kept going on, and then I could say that people were really, really happy with the progress I did. And sorry, there's some internet connection. I hope I'm audible. Okay, that's good.
Yes, you are.
Yes. So that's how I went along, and then once I was done with my master's degree, I did try applying for my jobs there, but due to family pressure and family inconveniences, I had to move back to Bangalore. But I was really happy how I had a base to represent myself in India. You know, like once I came back, I felt like I was strong enough to show what I have and what I can show myself to be. And right now I work as a UI UX designer at a ad agency, and I manage social media for few clients. I manage their websites, and then we are working on an app called as the Storytelling, which is for kids below 10 years, so that it's more like an AI generative storytelling app that we are working on. And I am really, I can say that my journey in AUB has given me this opportunity to understand that how things work and how I can communicate and how I can actually put myself into this career and my experience of being a designer, basically. So, to be honest, I'm really, really happy and grateful that I did my master's at AUB, and it was the best choice of my life. And so I can just conclude telling that I am really happy to be here.
Thank you so much, Kshira. That was
Thank
lovely.
you.
It's lovely to hear your story in the app and where you're working now and UX. I was
Yes.
just speaking to I think it was Ashani just about UX design and the complexity of it. If I can share my screen and just go back to oops, where are we? Yeah, can we see? Share. We on now? Sorry, I've lost. See where we are. Share. Share. Okay. All right. So, thank you. I mean, that was a good example of design and the careers that we can have, Kshira. I mean, you've kind of evolved along your journey from visual communication, graphic design to UX, UI, and you're now designing apps and you're an educator and lots of things. We do lots of things now. We don't just do one thing.
Yes.
Oh, that's what we have to be. That's the best thing about art school, is that it teaches you to have these transferable skills, that you can do different things. You can you're future proofing your careers, because we don't know what's going to happen next, but we do know that it's very exciting times and things are changing so fast and new technology is there. But design, it's fundamental for the gaming industry. I've just sort of pulling up some of the courses at AUB and elsewhere, really, but gaming, you're designing a game, an app, Kshira, that's about education fundamentally, but it's turning the story into a game. There's the sort
Yeah.
of engagement and all of these things. Story is there fundamentally. I mean, it's one thing is about design is turning a story into product. Story
Yes.
connects all disciplines in the creative field, everything. Not drawing, though that's really can be really important, but it's story.
There's one thing that I really liked about AUB is that even if I was from the Department of Graphic Design, I could go to other departments to learn new things and understand new things. Like when I was in there, I have done screen printing. I have done. I've actually worked with cinematographers. I've worked with fashion design students. I have been a volunteer at a fashion show, which was conducted in Bobby's and Co. And so I was really happy how I could actually get into different departments to understand and learn new equipments, basically. And I've heard that there are so many new departments which have come up in recent times, and I'm really excited to get back there and then learn and see new things.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's it's a fundamental thing. I still think that that fine artists, when they're really successful, are designers as well. But yeah, these are some of the other courses we had. One of the attenders, Anna Gujral, is it? Yeah, very interested in architecture. Architecture's changing massively, again with AI, and interior design as well, landscape design, interior architecture. Cities are going to be completely different in the future. There's a lot of room for buildings that are 20, 30 years old are useless now. Smart living, houses that are sustainable is the way forward. The way that cities are constructed. We're seeing, the first huge um, relocation projects, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, complete cities rebuilt and redesigned with the future. Same with transportation. We've seen the EV revolution. I'm based in China, and what China's doing is phenomenal. I could talk about China for another lecture, but it's incredible what's happening and how China's embracing all these new technologies with design at the very heart of it. It's absolutely important. I'm an optimist. There's a lot of things not to be optimistic about in the world. But I do believe that the one thing that does give us hope is design to make the world a better place. But yeah, UX, UI, what's the difference? Kshira, you're talking about your career at the moment with UX and UI. And it's good to know that. So it's what graphic design is now, actually.
Yeah,
Graphic
yeah,
design 20, 30 years ago, that was a new course. It didn't exist. Before it was printing for the print industry. Okay, so you learn
yeah,
how to typeset. Then it became graphic design because of the Apple Mac and all the design tools. Now it's UX and UI. They're the highest paid, or they were the highest paid graduates from art school about 4 or 5 years ago. Now that's what people study.
yes.
With branding, social media, which is now advertising. Advertising is social media, really. But yeah, if you think about the difference, UI is the kind of beautiful aspect, yeah, and UX is how it works. Okay,
Yes.
it's into how we interact with these things, and it could be a product as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be technology. It could be a thing. It could be
It
uh,
could be anything, yes.
a hairdryer.
It's just UI UX is more like how you make sure that if there's a problem that you can solve and give them the user experience is what UI UX means. So once there is something that you need to understand that there is some hindrance with the user and you do something to solve that and you solve it, that's UI UX, like you give a good user experience, you give a good user interface to understand how to go step by step. So that's what
Absolutely,
it's meant to be now.
absolutely. But let's get back to the elements and the principles. I think this is really important that we never stop learning about this. If you haven't been to art school, if you haven't learnt the fundamentals of art and design, you're kind of using AI in a bad way. The elements and principles have to be constant. It's almost like if you're a musician, you're practicing your scales all the time. You have to
Yes.
constantly be learning about line, texture, form, unity, movement, balance, value, pattern, contrast, all these things. It needs to be like, you'll be able to kind of review and decide if that AI solution to your project is a good one because you know the basics. Line, incredibly important. It's the most powerful thing ever. It can be, as simple as deciding what the composition is, where the elements within your design exist, two-dimensional or three-dimensional. Um, Words are lines fundamentally, but we can structure and map out ideas like J.K. Rowling did here. You know, just you can see the kind of her design thinking for mapping out the structure or what she's got to write for, the best-selling uh, children's books of all time. And we can work things out with line. Einstein used it for his theory of relativity to try and understand gravity and time and these incredible ideas that have transformed how we make energy and even have the potential to destroy ourselves. But quantum physics and quantum computing is where we're going, and that's down to Einstein. Just a little scribble to understand. Drawing is understanding, designing is understanding, to understand the secrets of DNA, and how important genetics are, and especially for medicine and modern medicine, and to design with line a patent, an idea that can be sold and protected, a blueprint, all of these things. Color, one of the most important things to have massive influence on where we are today. Isaac Newton, the father of modern science, he really was obsessed with color and light. The modern chemical industry started in the pursuit of making colors because mineral or organic colors were too expensive. So people in the 19th century made chemical colors. The chemical industry, white paint, all of these things, plastics, all of these things came out of a pursuit of trying to make colors. As simple as that. Colors are emotional. It's a huge industry. It's incredibly important for fashion. We can never stop learning about color. Germans, again, brilliant thinkers. The Bauhaus movement, Johannes Itten, the color wheel, Joseph Albers, the father of modern color theory. If you do graphic design, you'll know about the interaction of color. Incredibly important. Modern art schools are based on these guys, okay? They're based on these guys without a doubt. But understanding color theory, what it does, what's a cool color, what's a warm color, what are the properties of colors? All of these things can inform how we use AI. Shape, form. Again, we have an emotional response to these things. Okay, I was just working in this building the other day in Beijing. Stunning, almost organic in sort of form, almost like based on natural insect hives. But shape again has an emotional response from the audience. The psychology about shapes, circles, gorgeous, spirals, do things, triangles, the pyramids. Why are pyramids all over the world at a similar time? Because they mean things. They're spiritual. The square does something. It does something, as of course does the cross. And the shape psychology and our emotional response to shape has informed how children look at animation. The shape language of characters determine on who the character is. Is he cuddly? Is he cuddly? Is he angry and aggressive and evil? Is he solid and reliable? All of these things are based on shape language, okay? And the other thing as well is just the kind of boldness of just a black and white image. In Japanese, it's called the notan. It's the yin and yang. It's the black and white. It's the logo and what it means and how quickly we can recognize and add meaning and value to the brand, to your company, to whatever it is that you're selling. It's archetypal, similar to actually the architecture of this building. There are negative spaces and bold shapes that are cultural. Design can be cultural. And that's an important aspect as well. Let's talk about process a little bit. Let's talk about process. I think it's incredibly important to understand that, designers they should be empaths. They should be caring for other people, the customer, the consumer, the audience. They should be. Empathy is at the core of any design process. Who are we doing it for? How are we going to work together to make things happen? All of these very big questions. And the ideation stage, I'll just very, very quickly kind of just show you. I'm going to just change this. I'm going to just, yeah, can we see? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just quickly change this. Just right. Sorry. Excuse me 1 second. Video settings, video effects, virtual backgrounds, none. Okay, that's better. All right, so we're in business here. Okay, so ideation. In any stage of any process, we have chaos. Okay, loads and loads of ideas, mind mapping ideas, just things, whatever we're working out, we are just exploring in as many ways possible until we are totally exhausted and we hit a wall. Okay, this might take 5 minutes or 10 seconds, like I've just done now, or it can take 50 years. I mean, it really depends, or 500 years. It doesn't really matter, but we reach a point we then have to kind of, decide what it is we're doing. We have an aha moment, okay? And then we execute, okay, to the end, okay? That's the kind of process we're doing with design. For me, my personal way of working is I would keep sketchbooks all the time. I draw and write, but I would be drawing and illustrating or sticking things in books. It might be in response to something in the news or people in restaurants. Little books, just little ideas. I know exactly what ideas are going on, even with this. And this is doesn't look like much to you, but it means a lot to me. There might be things within all of this that become a bigger story. Little books like this, and then I'll have a more sort of ideation book, which I will keep scribbling notes and ideas, drawing. It might be just sort of breaking down things. I'm very interested in creative education and broadcasting, telling stories about things. So I'll just be writing down what needs to be done, what I need to explore or write. And I try and do this every day. If I don't, I'm very, very unhappy. But it all starts with line, with composition. And the other thing as well is that I would write constantly, and I would sort of work things up a little bit more, whatever it is, wherever I am. I travel a lot, a little bit too much really, to be honest, but wherever I am, I'm looking for ideas. We're in an ideas economy, and design is there, but it comes down to the ideas that we might have as well. Okay, but hundreds and hundreds of books that I will go back to and respond, and they might become something else. Okay, did you see that? Okay, sorry,
Yes,
I've just
they were beautiful.
did it. I mean, yeah, I don't know if you could see it. All right, maybe maybe I should have just But it's like this, yeah. So, there's lots and lots of drawing, but ultimately, it's scribbles. It's lots and lots of random stuff. And what's most important, if I can just find it, is actually just this. It's just working things out in design form and scribbles. These get expanded in bigger ideas. Okay, let's get back to sharing. And let's get back to video. And let's get back to something in the background. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do. So let me just find I can find something. Okay, that's nice. Okay, and we'll change my video to me. That should suddenly appear there. Okay, and I'm going to share this here and get that and move that around there. Okay, are we still there? You all there? So collect ideas, mind mapping, incredibly important. And I mean, this is a very German kind of way of working, but just squeezing the hell out of any project. How many different ideas can we get? How many different ideas just using line can we get for making a chair? Okay, famous chair from the Bauhaus movement, but it comes from just squeezing the hell out of ideas. Okay, squeezing the hell out of ideas, scribbling until you just hit that wall. But a scribble can lead to a building or a city or a spaceship or a fashion collection or a movie, and it goes on. The only response to any design, there's three responses. And this is Milton Glaser, very famous guy, big illustrator, big visual communicator. He did the I Love New York symbol, the I Heart New York, and three solutions: yes, no, or wow. Okay, yes, no, or wow. So whatever we do with a design problem, we're looking for the wow. We don't get wowed by AI anymore. We did when it first came out, but when we see these AI images, particularly illustration, like it looks just like AI. But we do get wowed by other things like craft. This combination of AI and craft is the secret, and not forgetting culture. It's incredibly important we don't forget culture. I see often say with illustrators or animators trying to be something else, trying to be an Japanese anime artist, rather than celebrating their own culture and build on it. It's a combination of your culture, your locality, your history. I love history. History is always going to be there. We don't know what the future is. And today's kind of a mess, but history, it's incredibly important. So anything good to get out of art school, I do believe it's art and design history. It's the best thing ever. It'll always be with you. And get as many help from different tutors as well, from many tutors, not just one. Often one tutor will kind of get you to give them their point of view. Like I've got quite a narrow point of view. I'm trying not to have one, but it's based on, my experiences, just one man and my experiences. But to learn about art history, and in a broad sense, yeah, and being aware of your own culture. India is just so rich with culture. I was researching in Jaipur in Rajasthan just before COVID, and just to see the textile artists. This isn't my photograph, but just reminding about textile art, these craft skills. As one example, in India, the buildings reflecting, I think this is Jain culture, could be Buddhism, but yeah, from all over the world, we see like design and symmetry and pattern as being a reflection of culture, almost as a spiritual thing. And then within all of that, we're in this age where the biggest revolution, this is the biggest revolution the human race has faced. I mean, there's been revolutions that have transformed us, but this is something else. And there's some great books about it, such as Noah Yuval Harari, the guy that wrote Sapiens. I'll write that down in chat, his trilogy about the future. Harari's Sapiens, and Homo Deus is his last one, about us becoming gods, in effect, because of AI. We're creating gods of ourselves. But the AI revolution, it's evolving. Like, how are we a designer within, an AI world? Kshira is a perfect example of that, where AI is helping children develop storytelling.
Yeah.
We're finding, it's human-centered approach. It's actually about kids learning about narrative.
Yeah.
It's a question of how we can get children to be more intelligent, be more compassionate and caring, to have better relationship with their families, and the families to be more involved in children. I have a son, and we work together a lot, and try and travel and create together. There's all these things which are positive. Okay, it's about strategy. We're becoming strategists. That's what the role is of a creative. I'm going beyond just design. Design's one thing. It's when, if you look at the brain, like UX and UI, or fine art and design, that it's a constant balance within ourselves and our being between these two very different disciplines. I don't personally, this is my personal view on what design is. I don't see that there should be a difference between fine art and design. Uh, I believe that design and emotional intelligence will become more interlinked. Um, People can make animations on their own now rather than a team of 200 people. Um, Cities like this is actually in the background, we can see the line in Saudi Arabia, which
Yeah.
is this city of 100 kilometers long, which is phenomenal. It's being built, it's being built by AI. AI is in charge of the building of this new way of living. Like, incredible. I mean, people are going to go there just to go, wow, is this what the human race is? It's in the desert. There's no water there. But that's a solution to a country that's actually got its money from oil. It's now
Yeah.
saying we don't need oil anymore. We're going to build a sustainable city that's 100 kilometers long, that's a straight line, and everything's going to be sorted. Okay. So designers are becoming curators, strategists, facilitators, and it's human-centered problems and innovation. Okay. It will enhance creativity. It should do, but you have to you have to study so that you can use it well. You don't work within it. This is the problem with non-designers, is they think, oh, I can just get AI to do it. But that does nothing. You have to have the education and then become the managers of AI, the same way as we are the managers of our own intelligence. Streamlining workflows. I used animation as an example. We can already see it with photography. And personalized user experiences. Yeah. That's not an algorithm built specifically for you, your own self, but it is, people have a lot more choice about how they live and what they want and they should do. So anyway, that's kind of it, really. You know, this is the future. This is now, but it starts off with, I think it starts off with nature. I think it starts with expressing your own personal experience, really having experience, as Kashira had by traveling to the UK. You know, these experiences educate, you know, they give us the originality that no AI bot can ever do. You know, it's up to you to educate
True.
through experience, through travel and experience, and then kind of marrying all these experiences, knowledge transformation, emotional experiences, and using AI to facilitate it to make
100%.
something.
So there were times that I used to think like, why did I move? Like there were times that before moving, I used to be like, let's just stay here. This is more comfortable. Why would you want to move and explore and stuff? But once I moved, I understood the potential that I had. I learned a lot about myself, which I didn't even know here. Like I had no clue that I could handle myself that well, like once I moved. And it was a great experience. Like I could understand so many new things, which to be honest, if I were here, I wouldn't have understood that because you have a lot of privileges in India, to be honest. But once you move, once you get out of that comfort zone and understand how things are and how you build your personal growth, you know, that is what matters. And I can say that this experience has given me so much for my whole life, I could say. Yeah.
No, thank you very much. We've got a little bit of time, or we haven't got much time, but do we have any questions at all? I just had one from
There's
Aishani.
one that's about the role of modern communication design. And then Ishani would like to know how much will art help in this field and what all skills do you think one needs apart from art to excel in this?
Well, first of all, I sorry to ask for clarification. Um, modern communication design. So, what do you mean by the role of art? Sorry, Ashani. You mean the role of fine art or the role of fine art in communication design? What do you mean by fine art? Yeah, as a skill. You mean drawing? Is that what you mean? When you say art, you mean drawing and painting? Yeah, right. Where does drawing and painting fit? Okay. Well, um, this is my personal view. And there's some designers, communication artists, graphic designers, brand communicators, you know, that just live in the computer all the time. That's what they do. They have a mouse, they have a tablet, they have a Cintiq, and they just work there, and that's all they do, and that's fine. But I hope in that presentation that I gave, you know, it was highlighting the elements and principles of design, okay? Highlighting the elements and principles of design. So it's color, it is line, it is texture, composition, you know, it goes on, okay? Shape and form. We usually kind of go into these careers, design careers, because when we were younger, we loved drawing. And, you know, we have dexterous skills, okay? It's how our hands work. And even if you use a tablet, it is still like a pen. So, you know, being precise. It's like a chef. You know, a chef has finesse and precision. A good chef has. Okay. You know, finesse and precision are incredibly important. So if you do graphic design, you're encouraged to do things like life drawing, just to be free and flow. It's being in the flow zone. Okay, it's like dancing, but you're dancing with, you know, these parts of your body, you're experimenting with materials and techniques. You're opening your mind to creative possibilities, brainstorming. Okay. Mind mapping is drawing, writing is drawing, understanding color. You understand color theory the best. And if you do an art and design degree, you start off by doing a color wheel, painting a color wheel with paint, mixing paint, understanding what paint does. Okay. Yeah. Understanding what happens if I mix yellow and blue, or what type of yellow mixing with what type of blue. Is it a warm yellow? Is it a cold yellow? Is it a warm red? Is it a cold red? You know, they'll have massive effect on mixing. So, yeah, it's incredibly important. And the best designers, the best communication designers, will have a great knowledge of art and design. They should do. Okay, that's a great question, though. Have we got some more questions? How should you build your portfolio for universities? Well, this is a good question. Okay. And I mean, there's only really, but it's a big question. Can I quickly just explain?
Absolutely.
Cass,
And
can I?
if everyone wants, I can also drop in an email ID so that you can get in touch with one of the representatives that we have here.
Yeah, have I got sorry, let me just pull up something. 1 second. Let me just see if I can portfolio. Yeah, okay. Let me just pull up this very, very quickly. So just to kind of answer your questions. So important, your portfolio. I mean, I think, you know, your personal statement is one thing. Your portfolio, you can kind of say all the things that you don't need to show. You can even describe a project that wasn't very successful visually, but it is a great story. Okay. Yeah, there you go, Himanshu. All right, thank you. Your portfolio should be about, I would say, 10 to 12 slides, and it's showing who you are. Good degree of skill. It's a story. It follows a story arc. It's got to show experimentation. It's thoughtful. It's looking at contemporary practice, self-initiated work, sketchbooks. I can't say enough. You're kind of laying things out. These aren't good examples. It's not good examples, but it does say this student wants to do architecture. Explanation, slides. Okay. You know, it's this sort of thing, really. You know, this isn't great work. I mean, I just put it in just as an example, really. I got this off online, but it does say the student wants to do fashion. It's interested in color and materials. You know, it's a mood board. Okay. But going back, you know, it's life drawing. Drawing, if you're doing that, common mistakes, lack of rigor, but document your work really, really well. Photograph everything really, really well. This is like one student's portfolio, so for photography. or filmmaking. Each one of these is a slide. The explanations have been taken off, but that was only for admissions purpose, not AUB. So there's a friend of mine from Parsons in New York who showed me this. But it's something like this. Here's a project, 2 slides. It's one of my students. Screaming faces, line drawing, screaming faces. And then she turned it into like a street art project. Okay. And this is a kind of good slide. Sketchbooks, 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 sketchbooks. Get advice. Okay. Go on lots of websites. Have a look at what tutors, what course leaders say about the course, about what's needed. Every course will be different in what they're looking for. But we don't want it to look perfect. We want you to have lots of possibilities in your portfolio, but it has to be you. We're constantly trying to be ourselves in our work, honest in who we are. Okay. Does that make sense? I talk a lot more about portfolios. Reach out to me or Himanshu if you need support on your portfolio. It does mean a scholarship. It does mean you go on the right course. If you do your portfolio well, it might lead to a change of career, because you might you work on it. You know, it's an action. It's not in your mind, it's an action. So you work on it and then things happen by you making a portfolio. You know, that's what happens. We start on the path and the change happens. We don't think, I need to change, so I'll go on the path. That's ancient philosophy. I kind of saw that recently. Yeah, it's the path will open up when you I can't find it. I'll send it later. But anyway, make your portfolio true to yourself and things will happen. I've had students completely change career paths because of their portfolio. But yeah, if you're going to do architecture, just draw buildings. Build buildings, photograph buildings, use apps. But it might be you just get really into materials, rocks or wood or sand or trees. I mean, it could be anything really. I hope that was help. Any more questions from anyone?
I don't see anything else in the chat. I have dropped Himanshu's email for everyone to get in touch. And I just wanted to take a moment to say that there is also a feedback form. So please let us know how you found the session and in case you have any questions. And I just wanted to say thank you so much to Professor Xavier.
My
I
pleasure. My pleasure.
studied art in school, so it was really interesting to see a lot of like the themes that I'd studied. And this was really engaging. And to everyone that joined and spent their wonderful evening with us, thank you so much for that. And Shira, thank you for sharing your story as well.
Thank you, Kashira. It's
Thank
lovely
you.
to meet you, Kashira. Reach out anytime. Add me on Instagram
Yes.
at Xavier_pick. There you go. Anyone can add me on there. Okay,
Perfect.
let's if you need any help. Yeah, you're
We'd love to
fantastic,
see you
Kashira.
all.
It's the first time I've met Kashira. I've heard a lot about her. She's fantastic. She did a really good job. I love your warmth and energy. It's wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah,
so
I hope
much.
we work again together. We work really well. I
Yes.
love the kind of panel discussion we were having. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kasfi. Dhanyavad.
Happy to help, and it was really
Can I fill out this form and tell myself how great I was, or
absolutely. I think I will fill this out as well. This was really engaging. Thank you so much.
my pleasure. It's good, great students, and thank you for those fantastic questions. Yeah, and really, really strong. But seriously, if you need any help, anyone, reach out, however way you want to, and I'm happy to advise. I love helping people. That's my job in life. Okay,
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you so
everyone.
much, guys. Bye.